Yo, what's up, everyone? This is your boy Arrow, and thanks for once again joining Lunar Nation and helping our podcast, grow. Obviously, we enjoy you listening to many of our greatest episodes. We got the three legends in the line. We got Sagoon, Franz, and Harsh. Say hello, everyone.
Yo, what's up, Lunar Nation?
Hey, what's up, everyone? Thanks for joining in.
Okay, guys, we got a really exciting episode, and we want you to listen to it. So here's the situation. Lunar Nation has decided to investigate the title of reincarnation. Now, many of you might be curious about it, many of you have heard about it, some may have not, but reincarnation is basically the non physical essence of a living being begins a new life in a different physical form or body after biological death. Now, that definition, what does it mean? It means basically we have this body as rented in our physical form. Therefore, when we ascend, when we die, we come back again in a different body. So you could say in a different car, and we once again begin life from scratch. Now we're gonna go in more in depth into reincarnation, but that's that's one thing we're gonna cover, and it's gonna be highly covered with me, Sagun, Franz, and Harsh. And before I say anything else, I know Franz has something really exciting to announce to the audience. Franz, go ahead.
Thank you, Arrow. I just wanted to announce to the audience that we still have the two giveaways going on right now. One of them is for a $25 Amazon gift card that ends September 12th. Be sure to like it, follow us, and tag us. And then there's another one for a $50 Amazon gift card ending on September 7th. Again, follow, comment, like, tag us. And then there's also going to be a question related to that. And the question is in regards to previous podcast episodes that we've done. Now, for you to be entered into the giveaway, you have to answer this question. In which episode do we talk about the conglomerate companies? Okay, so again, go back to our previous episodes and figure out where we talked about the conglomerate companies. We're going to be doing a post on our Twitter and Instagram in regards to this. Be sure to DM us privately for a chance to be entered into the giveaway. And like I said, the $25 one ends September 12th, the $50 one ends September 7th. So we look forward to you guys entering into the giveaways.
Thank you very much, Franz, for that announcement. Everybody, make sure you have listened to exactly what he said because there is a chance for you to win those gift cards. Now, once again, we're going to go back to the mystery of reincarnation. So, to give you a quick definition for those that are unaware of the concept, it's basically a cycle of rebirth. It's the non physical essence of a living being begins a new life in a different physical form or body after biological death. Now that I have, now that everybody knows this, Sagun, can you go more in depth and talk about what does reincarnation mean to you, and what do you think everyone should know about reincarnation?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, Arrow. So basically, for me, reincarnation means it's basically a cycle. So when someone dies, they basically come to a new kind of form. Whether it be like a object or whether it be like an animal, whether it be another human being with like a different status, right? And this depends on the actions that you've done in your life. So if you've done a really bad action, then you could be some lesser species or lesser being. But if you have done something really good in your life and you've done good deeds, you become a good person, then you become, basically you would upgrade your status. So it's kind of like a video game kind of thing, where the good, like when you do good things you get rewarded. So that's kind of what I think reincarnation is.
So let's just set the stage, and so let's set the topic here. Reincarnation, right? We're talking about souls leaving another one body and getting in another body in a new form, saying be it an animal, be it a human body. That's what we're talking about here. Um, I mean that could be very well be true, and there's people who have come up with evidence of that, but it's not scientifically proven. There's also been instances where people were born and had memories of their past life, where they could exactly say and guide the people towards the last person that they were as what they existed as, towards their daily habits, their items, what they possessed, and everything. And there's a fun fact about this. The Dalai Lama. So they have like the Lama how they choose, and there's like I think it's the 14th one going on right now. And this is how they choose. They think that every time the Lama dies, the Lama gets reincarnated. And when they get reincarnated in a child, what they do is they let the child choose out items um, that belong to the old llama, and then they choose that child as the new llama because they think every time it gets reincarnated, the soul gets reincarnated, so their Dalai Lama stays the same. What do you think about that, guys?
No, that's really interesting because I've heard of that, and going through school, I've gone through the like the Buddhism section in my world religions class. So we went over the Dalai Lama and all the different Dalai Lamas that have existed in the past. So it's a matter of belief, right? I mean, some people believe that it is true that the souls, it's basically a cycle, right, between one Dalai Lama to another Dalai Lama to another Dalai Lama. So it's like generation upon generation upon generation of Dalai Lamas. But in my opinion, it's just what you believe in, right? If you really do think that there's another Dalai Lama that exists, that is the Dalai Lama, but it's in another person's body, then it could be based on your perspective. But that could be challenged as well. There's different viewpoints, right? And we can also get into that, like different religion viewpoints too. So that's what I think.
Okay, interesting. I kind of wanted to connect. I know, not just this is not kind of straight off topic, but in regards to how Harsh was mentioning when they did you mention like the new Dalai Lama being like a you mentioned him being a child, correct? Was that right,
Yes.
Harsh? Okay,
Yes, I mean
so
they have the child choose out items of the old Dalai Lama, and then when the child, they would actually, what they would do is they would give them items, and some items would be originally of the Dalai Lama, and some items would not be. And if the child chooses us correctly, like chooses all the items correctly, that it's mine and that's mine, they would, that's the child, that's the new Dalai Lama. That's how it goes.
got you. Okay, I see. Because the reason I wanted to say that is, again, this is nothing scientifically proven, but there have been, like recorded instances, and this is not just for Dalai Lama. This is for like other people where they say that it's more prone, I guess, in younger children, because obviously they're so young, and for the most part, when we're very young, we don't recall our full recollection of memories when we're very young. And again, how Harsh was mentioning, these children are picking certain items that belong to the person in the quote unquote previous life. It seems that it stems with a lot of younger children because um, they're saying these kids are having memories that are accurately detailed but are not able to convey in speech. And yet, I mean, how to connect this? Like again, they have the ability to kind of reconnect with their past selves, and it kind of molds within their future selves, yet they're not able to recall these memories when they get up older, and obviously they start forming a new mind. Again, this is I'm not sure if this made sense to you guys, but from what I saw in my research, it was just basically pointing out that it was prone in like younger children for them to kind of have these out of place memories that would prove like accurate details, or like would suggest that they had past lives. And again, going to the point where Harsh mentioned that these people are they're choosing the kids Dalai Lama by choosing certain objects they belong to a person in the past, and they're saying that kind of forms a new memory for a new future life. So I just want to kind of point that out there just for other instances.
Yeah, you do bring a good point, Franz, about that. And like I mentioned, right, it is based off different perspectives and it's based off beliefs because there's no exact scientific evidence, right, that this has exactly happened, right? This reincarnation is like totally real, right? So it's a matter of different viewpoints. And in our podcast, we always love to share different viewpoints and just have like a nice friendly discussion,
Oh,
with our members and the audience as well. So
I I definitely think I know, but I just wanted to add. So if you look at reincarnation, it's a belief system that was focused in the East. East meaning like Buddhism, Hinduism, and Jainism. Now, the West, if you look at it more in depth, they have the philosophy of like there is no death. I mean, Christianity and Islam, that's where the religion originates. They do not believe in that reincarnation. Now, this curiosity of like, coming back to life and this whole like ordeal of people having these memories. Now, one, I believe when I looked into it, I believe somebody said that reincarnation is the form of subconscious mind still active, whereas you still remember what prior happened, and you're still like you haven't lost it, you have the traits of it. So the key question to be asked in this scenario would be like, if one is able to access the subconscious mind, can they be able to fully realize what their past life has been, and which will in reality create a big revolution? Because imagine like if you were born 1,000 times, that means you went to school 1,000 times, or you may know different languages and different belief systems, and you lived in different environments, maybe like snow, maybe you lived in a tropical environment, maybe you lived in the desert, but at the end of the day those are experiences that you carry, and it's kind of
Exactly.
like really exciting if that possibility can be accessed in some sort of way, which kind of brings me to this new phenomenon, which is like hypnosis. I believe it's called. I'm not quite sure
You're
about
looking
it.
for regression hypnosis. That's what
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
looking for.
yeah. Hypnosis regression. So that is like I guess I've overheard that this possibility like it accesses your subconscious mind and brings that locked memory into pretty much unlocks it, and then you gain this much
Yeah.
knowledge, which is something to look into.
Yeah, also Arrow, I
There's a
you know how you mentioned sorry Harsh. You know how you
Yeah, go
mentioned
ahead.
about the like the school, right? Imagine you had all that, let's say you were going through a school and you're doing that like a test, right? And all that memory is locked in your subconscious mind that you can't really tap in. Let's say you've just been like reincarnating over and over. Imagine you're just trying to pass that test, right? And you failed it. And then next time you do it, you still fail it, right? In your next life. Imagine you had that access to the subconscious mind. You would already know that you've already done that experience again, right? So that kind of links to the idea of the deja vu. And I know Harsh, you kind of have like a counter argument to that, but I was wondering if you want to talk about that too.
I want to
So yeah,
sorry,
go
I
ahead.
just want to I just
Go
want
ahead,
to
Earl.
say I know Harsh has like I think one of his major goals was like he wants to study forever. So imagine hypothetically like all that life prior he had all these studies and all these knowledge and all these like written books, obviously stored in the libraries and scriptures, or I don't even know, tablets, wooden tablets or stone tablets. By the end of the day, um, knowledge is only gained through time, right? And time is the only thing that's against us as humans because we deteriorate and we die. So, if hypothetically, a scenario where reincarnation is the ability to die and come back, but then knowledge is like it's like a memory stick. You learn it, you die, it erases. But what if it didn't erase? What if it's just stored, but it's like certain keyword passwords where you unlock it and you're like, whoa, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, also it's like that movie, right? Limitless. When that person, like I know we already mentioned that in our previous podcast, when someone taps into their mind and then using this pill, and then he gets all this, different skills that he has. Imagine that one is from the past life, all this, different skills such as like piano and everything, right? So it's really interesting to say, and I just want to bring it back about deja vu. Like Harsh, what do you think of that?
So I have a couple things to add here. So first off, when we're talking about reincarnation and religion, almost all religions in the Asian region and the Eastern region believe in reincarnation. The major ones being, I think, Hinduism, Jainism, Sikhism, and there's probably one more. And I think the most heaviest believer in that is Hinduism, where they mention a lot of reincarnation and a lot of karma that comes back to you in different lives. And also, I think you guys were mentioning about reincarnation, how the examples of it as well. So there's a couple examples out there, and then when you mentioned regression hypnosis, Arrow, I think about that thing has a break in there. So regression hypnosis has never actually been proven scientifically being proven, or is not a actual field. It's just done by people, who are well into hypnosis and also believe in reincarnation. So they're the kind of experts, but there's no evidence or proven things about that. Because also another thing that disproves that theory or that act is all the people that have gone through regression hypnosis have never given any information about their past life. They choose to stay shut. Whereas people who haven't gone through that and still see instances of their past life, just like this woman who was born in um, London and moved to Egypt later. Her name was Dorothy Eady, and she claimed that she was one of the Egyptian priestess, and she was actually able to navigate through the whole pyramid, or whatever the temple place was, um, without any light. Like the archaeologists locked her in without no light in there, and she was able to navigate through exact spots where the archaeologists wanted her to go to. And she also helped them unlock a new tunnel, which was unknown to the archaeologists. I mean, that was mind blowing as well. And
You
and
sure she
on the
wasn't
other
using
hand,
Google Maps?
I'm sure only if aliens actually existed at that point, they might have transferred the information on Google Maps. I don't know,
Ah,
could
got you,
be
got you.
possible. So, I mean, still, so regression hypnosis is disproven because the people are never really release any facts about their past life. Because if they release that, that could be a lot more helpful to know what was going on in the past, right? Um, but we don't have that now. Again, deja vu. So, what 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 Sagun's point about deja vu is that it's actually to live when you're actually experiencing a deja vu, is that you're actually living this, seeing this from your past life. Whereas I say that's not actually totally true. What deja vu is, you're actually looking into the past or the future, and you really think that this event has already happened, but you're still in that same form or the same life they're existing in.
Okay, so you think
That's
it's based on just that same I guess
same life. Yes,
that
the
same
same
being
life.
itself. But
Yes,
let's
the
say
same
but
being.
Yeah, but let's say like, linking it to like the subconscious mind, right? Let's say you
Mhm.
had that memory stuck there, but then somehow there's some kind of link. I know there's no proof to this. This is just our thoughts to it, right? But I'm just saying, like, what if there's that situation where it's like you go to that place, but somehow your subconscious mind is triggered to the point where you're like, oh, you know what, you have actually been there. So that's
Well, I
just
think
kind
we
of
can
my
also
thoughts.
connect. Sorry, not to interrupt, but I think we can also connect not just with deja vu, but I know you're talking about the subconscious mind. I think we can also connect it with like recurring dreams, and I think we did talk in a previous episode in regards to
Oh yeah,
dreams and
we
what
did a
dreams really
podcast
mean.
on
Right.
dreams.
Exactly. So like we really don't know what's going on in subconscious mind, and like sometimes what the brain. I mean, the brain is very mysterious overall. So exactly what we're thinking of, but I mean,
So
just to really quick give an example, and then I'll let you take back the podium part because I know you have a lot to say, but kind of to connect it. So if people are having like let's say someone is dreaming often a recurring dream where they're in like the 15th century or they see castles, horses, things like that. Some people have STEM to kind of connect that to say that, the more dreams you have of a certain, whether it's location, time period, or whatnot, it's kind of saying that, it's bringing reoccurring memories of the subconscious mind of, say, particularly of a past life. Again, this is not scientifically proven. It's just people, having theories about it, but it's also an interesting one and also kind of a little bit connecting to deja vu because people might have a dream of something that either is going to happen or previously happened, and then something occurs similar to that instance, and they think, wow, it's deja vu. And sometimes people can connect either the dream and deja vu together, and also give that example of being it from a previous life. But again, that was just an example of what people have theorized.
I would like to add something to that. I see you have a lot about deja vu and having the dreams that occur, but there's one more fact that kind of addresses all that and tells us more deeply about that human mind is actually pretty constructive, and human mind is being proven to develop scenarios in our favor or to connect the dots. If there's a missing piece of information between two scenes and we don't know what's going on, our mind can actually develop frames and make us think, oh, okay, this is what would have happened. but we don't really know what actually happened. That's just the mind making us believe. So it's what's going on there is our mind has a huge huge potential for imagination, and what happens is we just imagine all that stuff happening, but it actually never happened.
Yeah,
um I mean, later on in the episode, I really want to connect to the point where the reincarnation of the souls thing.
yeah,
But for right now, I think we're more so steering towards how I mean, what are the evidences and some proofs that say that reincarnation is possible and not. So I mean, I think I have shed enough light on
yeah, yeah. No,
people
I
actually
think you've done a good
existing.
job. Yeah, you've done a really good job, Harsh, on just that whole perspective, right, of your mind. It really links to our subconscious episode that we've done, podcast that we've done in the past. Make sure to check
Also,
that out because that's also really interesting too. So, I just want to quickly say, so also one thing that really links to this, past life is passions, I think. Because let's say you're really, really interesting, like not interesting. I mean, you're very interested in like, certain sports, let's say like soccer. Imagine like in the past life, maybe you were also really interested in soccer. So this kind of passion kind of transferred from one, body to another. So now you really like soccer as well. So that's just something to think about.
okay, so good
Oh,
night.
I didn't follow. What was the point? I'm sorry, I kind of got lost.
So so the point is that let's say in your past life you had some kind of interest, right? Like let's say soccer. This is just like a theory. So let's say that in this life you're also interested in soccer, and let's say you reincarnate, right? Maybe some kind of thing your interests or your hobbies maybe transferred, to this one. It's just a thought, it's not like there's
I
no
see.
scientific evidence to it. So
That's a
That's
good
what.
point.
Sorry, not to quickly say, but that what you just mentioned, that's characterized as the soul age theory,
yeah.
basically for people
Yes,
that have a connection towards something that's more mature or something that's different, whether it's energy wise, characteristics, or materialistic. That's something different that represents from whether it's a different time past or it's something that doesn't reflect to the age. So I just wanted to mention that they called it
Yeah,
the
what about what
soul
correct.
about
soul
what
age
about
theory.
yeah, what about like the fears? Like let's say you have
I'm
a
gonna
fear.
hold on. I'm gonna cut you off. Arrow's been trying to mention something. Go ahead, Arrow.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah,
Sagun,
I'll let you
Sagun,
take the floor,
Sagun.
Arrow.
I don't know where you
Whoa,
get this
whoa,
energy from,
arrow,
but
arrow, like yo, you can like speak up. You got a mouth, right? Listen,
Arrow,
man, you're
Arrow.
you're
Sagun,
you're
Take
part
the
you're part of the
time
group.
in the moment.
listen. I had a
No
power outage.
animosity.
I had a power outage. I think I know who is the culprit. It's Sagun because he has a lot of electricity in him and he keeps cutting me off. But it's okay.
No, I did that on purpose so that
So,
Oh,
sometimes you guys
sensitive boy.
so the electrical vibration is still here. But here's the situation. I know some Harsh, you were talking about the brain and then like the imagination and so on and so forth. And then Sagun came in saying how we did an episode in the subconscious mind. I believe in this there's a portion of the episode where we talk about like how complex the brain really is. And I just want to revisit that and tell everyone that just a neuroscientist, it would take them like 1 million years. Think about it, 1 million years to dissect just one human mind. So that's how complex it is. And that just tells you, I mean, what, human civilization, what, like 2,000 years, 12,000 years max? Imagine someone were to live for 1 million years and to dissect that. We don't know what the capabilities are, right? So this whole like theory of reincarnation and just like memories and traumas and so on forth, it is a theory, but the facts are facts. It takes 1 million years to dissect the brain. It doesn't necessarily mean we're wrong, nor does it mean we're right, but it is a possibility.
I'm thinking we should start a GoFundMe and start a project to go dissect the brain. So
You know what? If any of our audience wants to pitch in, we'll definitely start it as well. I think the brain
We'll
is
we'll,
so
we'll dissect
complicated.
Arrow's brain. How about that?
I mean, Arrow's brain is so complicated, in my opinion. I think it will take more than 1 million year. Like
Fine. I
it'll
know you're
it'll
not a
it'll take at
scientist,
least
so
two
I don't
million
want you to
years.
dissect my brains.
Yo,
I think
man.
it'll take generation upon generation to just
Yo,
go through his normal part of the brain, not even the subconscious part. It's just going to take millions of years. So I don't know.
you see,
Should we
Arrow's getting
really
a
waste
little
that time?
sensitive right now, so I'll let it be.
Ooh, yeah, we
Yeah.
should just
So
let it be.
Ooh, I know.
So I guess we can continue on. Another thing that I want to link is like birthmarks. I don't know if you guys heard the story. So there's this a study done by this University of Virginia psychiatrist named Ian Stevenson. So there was this Indian boy that was basically he claimed that he was actually a man called Maharam that was killed in a gunfire, you know, at close range. And then what happened was that this kid, when he was born, he had that birthmark in the same location as the guy, the Maharam guy that got shot close up. So when it looked like that, it like the exact same location. It was near the chest area. So is that a matter of coincidence, or is that a matter of, you know, just the proof that, you know, maybe this guy was, you know, reincarnated into this, you know, being? That's another question for debate, right? All
So
the
let
things that
me
we're saying right now, it's like we don't really have solid proof of it, but I think it does bring an interesting debate to it.
let me tell you, Ian Stevenson actually he studied 2,500 cases of people act claiming or kids claiming um, being reincarnated. Now being reincarnated, the the kids thing also brings me back to the woman that I just spoke about, Dorothy. She was born in London, and what happened was when she was 3 years old, she fell down a flight of stairs, and doctors said that she's dead for a little bit, right? And then as soon as they pronounce her dead, a little while later, she wakes up. And when she wakes up, she just woke up out of the blue. And when she woke up, then is when she started claiming to be, that I want to go home, even though she was home. But she was referring home as Egypt, as that temple she was in. And she had all those visions.
Yeah,
So I mean, you're right. I mean, this could totally be true.
yeah,
I have a theory behind this. Okay, I have a theory behind this. Let me go by that. So there's, if you've studied just basic physics, there's two statements, two laws of thermodynamics in physics. Both of them state there's one that's a law of conservation of mass and a law of conservation of energy. So both of them state that mass can neither be created nor be destroyed, and even energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. Now, if you also go to the E is equal to mc squared, that's the mass energy equivalence. That's by, I think that was by Einstein. I'm pretty sure, right? That was by Albert Einstein's famous formula. So that principle describes that mass, it can be transformed to energy and vice versa. Like mass and energy exist no matter what. Now, there have been studies that prove soul exists. There was a man named, hold on, I forgot the guy's name. I think it
maybe
was
you need to tap into your
Duncan.
subconscious.
Duncan. I probably will someday, man, someday. So the man's name was Duncan McDougall. That guy. He had a bunch of studies proving and looking after if the soul exists or not. And what he did was he weighed dead people or people who were about to die, and he weighed their he weighed their bodies before and after death, and he also accounted for all the weight loss for heat and blood loss and the air in the lungs and everything. And he came to a conclusion that the soul actually weighs about 21 to 26 grams. And there have been people who actually have had people in other chambers and try to prove that souls leaving a body in with a photograph or with a in a glass. I don't know how they did that, but they did it. So I'm thinking if a soul exists, if it exists, if a soul is there and it's some sort of an energy or a mass, so it is bound to get recycled.
Yeah.
It's bound to get because energy can neither be created nor be destroyed,
Yep.
and
Exactly.
neither can mass. And all that mass came from the first one singularity that the Big Bang came from.
Yep.
And where the Big Bang came from, now all this mass cannot be created nor be destroyed, and it also acts as energy. Now this energy has to go somewhere, and our brain has energy in form of neurons, and and I'm thinking more, and I'm trying to build up on that theory in my research. I'm trying to do that, but it's something to think about. It's something really that we should think about.
Yeah, harsh. When you just said about the soul, it kind of reminded me. I don't know if you guys seen like Harry Potter, the third movie. There was like the Dementors, right?
Prisoner
And
of Azkaban.
yeah, the Prisoner of Azkaban.
That's
When
the
the
third one.
Dementors
Yep.
were sucking the thing, right? They were doing that. I don't know that air thing, and then what happened was that the soul really left the body, right? I kind of see it like that because we don't really have the
Ah.
evidence, right? So maybe it
Mm-hmm.
could be something like that, your soul leaving out of your body. So it kind of gave me that
It
image when you're talking about it.
um so there's also contemplation, if a soul exists or not. So there's actually the so there's the philosophers, Plato has said, there's three forms of a soul: the logos, the head intellect, that's the intellect in your head; the themos, that's the chest area related to anger and furiousness; and the eros, that's the stomach area that's related to desires. And there's something very similar in Hinduism that goes on by chakras, defining bodies, chakras. And different chakras going by having different functions and how to unlock them. And there's be some chakras that exist in your body, some chakras that exist around your body, and how to unlock them. So I mean, you could really correlate all of these theories and really question them and say, are they really true? I mean, does this really exist? Can we unlock it? I mean, what's really going on is the answer. Like, what's the truth? And we've been asking this question in all four episodes: the Matrix episode, the Weekend episode. Like, who's controlling all of this? Who's putting it there? Like, I mean, what's going on? Very recently, we put that probe out into space, the telescope, the James Webb Telescope. That's about to prove that. I mean, I just read about it. I didn't go in deep, but there's something that could disprove the Big Bang Theory apparently. So now, if the Big Bang Theory is false, like what's real? I mean, what's going on here?
Yeah, I know. I mean, remember what was it a couple days ago, Harsha? We talked about that knowledge is the ultimate power, basically, and at the end of the
Yes,
day,
yes,
we as humans, I mean, we've come such a long way, but at the end of the day, I mean, the universe is so vast, and look at it this way: we don't even know what's under our feet in the ocean. We've only discovered like 5% of the ocean, so there's a vast amount of knowledge out there, and yet. I'm not saying that people are wrong, but that there's always things to be discovered, and sometimes again with the theory that the Big Bang theory might not be fully correct, or it might be not saying it's totally wrong, but that they're speculating it could be something different. I mean, again, it comes to show that. I mean, what was it like 50 years ago? Scientists believed that the universe was only like a couple 100 million years ago, 100 million years old, and then it turned out to be 13.8 billion years old. But what if they figure out
yes.
that it's bigger than that? What if there was not a Big Bang theory and whatnot? So I mean, what if there's parallel universes? What are they? There's so many things that at the end of the day that I think there's when you come up with like some sort of answer, there's going to be like 100 questions to come out of it. So I don't think that at the end of the day, that's what makes knowledge more so ever powerful because there's going to be more questions to be developed and more people thinking for those answers and more people doing research. And there's going to be people trying to come up with intellectual knowledge and theories, and again, that's what creates us, that's what makes us humans. That's how we've evolved. That's how we become technology advanced. We haven't stagnated. We've become ever so advanced from hunter and gatherers to now where we can connect with people halfway across the world in a matter of seconds. So real quick,
But
yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
go ahead.
Say
So
it.
I have another thing to add on to it. There's this person who is a past life regressionist and a hypnotherapist, Dolores Cannon, and she has a book that's called Keepers of a Garden. And in that book, there's there's a there, she adds up for she has an interview about a man, right? And this man, now, where I'm going with this is, I'm going with this is, um, I think you made a good point the other day, France, about if you go by the population numbers, reincarnation could not be true because people are growing every day, and where are all these extra souls coming from?
Exactly.
That's what I think. You made that
Exactly.
point, right? So
Yeah.
I have an argument for that point. Now, what this book says is that there's a man who turned to her for help, and because this man had suicidal tendencies and depressional thoughts, that's why he turned to her. And now she did a past life regression session, and discovered that in his first life on Earth, this is his first life on Earth, and all others have been in different dimensions and other worlds. So there are different dimensions and different worlds that exist, and they probably exist in the same universe. And it goes back to my theory. Now, given the fact, this is just a hypothesis. Given the fact that this theory, like the hypnotherapist who do past life regression is not true because it's a pseudoscience as of right now. Nothing's been proven, or there hasn't been a solid standpoint to it. So my theory goes that, again, if this is true, if this person was in a different dimension, in a different world, and this was his first life on Earth, that just proves that mass and energy exist. Like, they cannot be destroyed or not recreated. The souls just got recycled. That's it. I mean,
Wait, so you're
it's
saying
basically.
so wait, basically so you're saying is that the souls are transferring from one world to another? Is that what they
Yes,
stated?
yes, that could totally be true. And
Wouldn't that be
and
counter? Wouldn't that? But if the worlds are in the same universe, wouldn't that wouldn't make sense because there's a lot of thinking for me right now, so
No,
I'm trying to
it
put
is
like
no,
two and two
it
and
is
together.
it is
Like
actually
I
very
think I think
complex.
I'm confused. I think I'm trying even confused myself
Also,
because
also,
okay, so here wait, so here's the actual, so like let me break it down. So you said, how do we prove it actually exists? Well, in my opinion, I don't really think we can actually prove it exists. And then going back to how
what?
you stated, well,
I think so either.
how you said in regards to the reincarnation and what
Uh
we were
huh.
talking earlier, but and then connecting it how we were saying that, you know, well, what I brought up, the earlier this week is in regards to reincarnation is,
Uh huh.
if like 1,000 years ago there was only 100 million people, and now 1,000 years later there's 8 billion people. How can the form of reincarnation exist when there was only
Okay.
100 million people now and whatnot? So what you're trying to connect is from that person that had that theory that the souls are leaving the bodies and then they're getting recycled into different worlds and universe,
Mm-hmm.
and so you're saying, so the other worlds have less people, or what they were saying, and then this world is getting more people, and then so forth. It's, is that why they're like, sometimes we see population growth and then sometimes we see population decrease? Is that like kind of like what they were stating?
So I'm not talking about the population increase and decrease. That was your argument. I was just countering it with the point that if this regression, past life regression by this lady Dolores Cannon is true,
Hmm.
then the souls get recycled is what it happens. And I was also saying, I was also putting out forth that even if this is not true, um, the souls leaving from people's body are actually just a form of energy, and they could go back anywhere. And there's also this pair of twins that actually have, how there are twins who have joining bodies when they at the
Yeah,
time of birth, and they,
conjoined twins.
yeah,
Conjoined
yeah,
twins.
conjoined twins. So there's this pair of twins that actually just not have the body joining or the limbs joining. They have actually a part of brain that's joined together,
Hmm.
that's like bound together.
Right.
And if you make a sensory to the one of the twins, the other twins would be able to tell where that sense is. Like, if it's touch, if it's pain, if it's cold or hot, the other twin would be able to tell without even looking or without even having any knowledge of that. And they both can actually control each other's limbs. Is what they can do. So, I mean,
That's
now
well,
yeah. So now the question is do they have one soul or do they have two souls?
I
Mm.
Like,
I
what's
think
going
I
on
That is
think
there?
that is that is interesting.
I
That is
think they would have
interesting.
one
Yeah.
soul. They're conjoined, right? I mean,
Nah,
they,
no,
No,
you can't,
that's
because there's two
okay.
different.
Exactly.
but
They
they're
both can do it
joined together.
individually and still together, and they both have a different mind to think as well. So is it one soul or is it two? And
So
if they have one soul, then our like we as single people who are not conjoined have the ability to think as two people. I mean, come on. I mean, that's just
no,
mind blowing.
that's
Mind blowing
interesting.
stuff.
I've never thought about that, but
I've
that
never
is
thought of
very
it that way
interesting.
either.
That is very
Yeah.
interesting. I'm no
I,
scientist, so I can't really give you like I can't give you a really in depth answer because I have no idea
I was,
how to respond to that.
speaking about reincarnation, so there's a scripture, like a Hinduism scripture called the Bhagavad Gita. It says that,
Yes.
if you really think what you're gonna be, like you decide what you're gonna be in your next life, it could actually happen. So let's say one time, like Arrow really wants to be a dog, right? Or Franz really wants to be a dog. Then what happens is that if you really think about that, you're gonna be that, then the chances are that in your next birth you are going to be that thing. So maybe Franz, you can have like a spoon and you can be like a dog, and it could be different kinds of things, right? Whatever you believe in is what you could be in. So I
So
Yo,
so
yo, yo,
here's
yo.
here's
Yo,
another.
yo.
I
So
need to.
I
I
think
need to
Arrow
jump
has like
in.
had his little time out, so he wants to get back in the circle. So
I,
he wants to get
let's
in
let
the
him get
game.
his
Check this out.
let's
Check
let him
this
have
out.
his fair share.
While you guys were discussing, I was doing a quick research up because we were talking about reincarnation, and obviously
Mhm.
that brings me to a point where I mean the oldest religion that is reported is to be Hinduism, and Hinduism is like
Mhm.
Sanskrit. But according to Google, I mean
Mhm.
Hinduism is 3,500 years. That's the oldest text.
Four 4,000, but yeah, it's reported to be 4,500 years old though.
Is it?
Yeah, but we
Is it?
don't really
And
know, right? It's
Okay,
just a
okay. Hold on.
report.
So check this
They're
out. Check
saying
this out.
anywhere from 1500 BC to like 2500 BC, so within that time
yes,
range.
But that
so
Exactly.
it's
1,500
like that's
what is that? 2,500 years ago max.
So that's where like we're 2000 years, so
4,000,
for
and
4500
then
years max,
yes,
give or
so
take.
it says 4,500 or like 4,500 from a 12,000 year range is what the answer is to that.
12,000 range. Ooh, that's pretty.
Yes, 4,500 to a 12,000 is the
Okay,
range
okay.
that we can
So
date it back
even
to.
even if hypothetically that's 12,000 years, we don't have because according to the first human writing, I mean this is
Hmm.
like it is gonna go back to reincarnation, but this is just curious. It's just blowing my mind. The first earlier human writing that was discovered was the near the Persian Gulf. I think it was the Sumerian script, which is dated 3,400 years ago. And
Hmm.
if you look at the pyramids of Egypt, the pyramid of what is it, Giza? It's that's 4,500 years ago. So we don't. So here's the issue I'm finding. We don't have any records of human writing prior to 3,500 years ago. If I'm assuming correctly based on what I just researched, that means we are missing around 9,000 years of history that is either A lost, B forgotten, or C destroyed.
That's true. So I did look into it, and there's actually a bunch of history that's lost, and no one knows what went on there in that period. And we only have like recorded or something that dates back to like 4,500 years ago, and that's only what we can look back at. There are artifacts and there are things that you could date back to even before that, but you cannot really go
Yeah,
by and say, okay, this is what it was. Like you cannot pinpoint the existence of something specific beyond that period
yeah.
is
Which
what it
bring,
is.
which brings me to a point. The real so the real question behind all of these assessments, I was curious, is reincarnation is in Hinduism, and if this written scripture or text is older than what it's supposed to be, we should there should be some sort of evidence, right? That's older than 3,500 years because that is a human writing. And some kind of scripture that is either A, lost or taken or is like probably hidden from the general population. And like, it just blows your mind to say, like, okay, such a thing and such knowledges exist about the
You're right.
human mind. This is a
So
question that's already, I mean, how would I say, if you intersect if you like cross-examine these three different scopes that I just covered, you're gonna come to a question like, what the hell? Where there has to be
so let
something
me
older.
Yeah, let me tell you something on that. So again, I'm going to refer back to the point where I talked about Dolores Cannon and the past life regression that she did on this guy who was who was from a different realm, and I'm going to refer back to Ian Stephenson who did a study for that lady. Her name was Dorothy 80. The one that I talked about was born in, I think she was born in London, in somewhere in Britain. So she claimed to be a priestess of Egypt. Now, a priestess of Egypt should have existed about 3,000 years ago. Is that correct, Arrow? Somewhere around that. So
Wait,
I don't know. I mean,
what was it?
whatever,
What was it?
whatever.
Sorry, what was it? How many thousand years ago?
I'm saying about 3,500, 3,000 years ago was Egypt, right? The colony of
Egypt.
Egypt.
No, Egypt. The pyramid was 4,000. Just the pyramid is dated 4,500 years ago. That doesn't mean
Okay,
it exists.
so let's yeah, I mean whatever. So let's just put up a ballpark of about 37 or 100 or 4,000 years ago, right? Let's put up a ballpark. And she was literally able to get into the pyramid and locate and go in and around in that pyramid, right? She was able to do all that. She was able to lead the archaeologists to a new tunnel. I mean, obviously she had good knowledge of that. And there was no maps, and she was able to give them spots and places for the paintings and scriptures that weren't even made public by those archaeologists. So they were
Oh,
surprised anyways.
so she
Now,
knew something that no one else did. She had
yes,
that
because
ability.
exactly as I stated, she had a fall from a staircase in her childhood when she was 3 years old, and then she died for a brief moment, and then she just woke up out of the blue and said that I want to go home. And
Wait,
even though she was home, she said I want to go
that's like
home.
some
And when
movie.
asked,
That's like what
yes,
happens in a movie.
yes, and when it was asked that where's home, she referred to Egypt. You know, she was referring to all those scriptures and drawings. Now
You know
here's the
what?
thing.
You know what? So
So
like when she fell down, what if like somehow her subconscious mind just poured in, and
no,
then
no, 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 no. I mean, that could have happened, but hold on. Let me complete.
yeah.
Let me complete. Um, so that proves that souls just don't reincarnate immediately. They also reincarnate through time, because Egypt existed way long ago, like thousands of years ago, and or the ancient Egypt, you know, the whole society. And she was born in 1904. So that soul just traveled, or maybe not traveled. If that soul was energy that was left out in space, kind of got back in here, that energy traveled, because you know energy can never be created nor be destroyed by the laws of conservation of energy. So maybe that soul became an energy, and that's how it got down to her, into her. Or maybe that soul traveled to bodies and bodies over this many years of time, and as Sagun said, that she was able to access it somehow, like you know when she had that fall.
Maybe
Yeah.
she
I don't
has
know
like
what's true.
superpower.
That's
Maybe she
just a
has a
question.
superpower. You know, it's
So
like
good.
I
I
don't know.
need you to go in Egypt right now. Like right now, I need you to build a time machine, go back in time, and if you can find her and interview her, that'll be great. If not, live your life as it is, and hopefully next life you remember what's going on now.
You
I
know what we
mean,
should do? I'll go again. We should start a GoFundMe to build a time machine.
Wait. So
That's what
you
we
here,
know
should
what?
here.
do.
You know
Let
what?
me.
Audience, you guys know what to do. Give it like $1. If every viewer gives $1, that's $1 towards the time machine. You know that we can build
Hey,
to
you
the
know
time.
what? We should start our Patreon or something today itself, and you know start getting that. Support the podcast, support our causes. We're gonna build a time machine. We're gonna dissect Masood's brain and find all sorts of shit in his brain. You know, let's do
Yeah,
that.
support Arrow.
Yo, listen,
He needs a
listen.
cause. We have a cause for him.
Check this out. Check this
Support
out.
Arrow.
Okay, I know the this episode is
Let's check it
quite
out. Let's check it out.
exciting, but I wanna add one thing. I not to do with reincarnation, but it brings me into another question that we may have to do an episode to discuss more in depth, and that is like these civilizations, like the 3,000 years Egypt. I mean, I am curious to do a cross examination with Egypt and you know the Sanskrits with like India, and more in depth the Mayan temples and South America, because one thing I'm finding resemblance between all the architectures is they have like a triangular design to them, like the conformity. So I am curious to look into that.
We can definitely look into that. That's a pretty good point. I mean, all these societies had some sort of scientific points, and you know, they had some sort of scientific findings. And I'm a man of science. I'm really interested in looking at that, and you know, what kind of findings that they had, how do they relate to each other. I mean, what's the cross relativity in all of them? Like that
Yeah,
that would be a
I think
great
after
interesting
this
topic.
podcast, I think Harsh is gonna try to tap into his subconscious mind, and he's gonna He's gonna
Man,
go
I'm
and
on. You know
find
what? You know
all
what?
the
It's
secrets.
it's not going to be after this podcast. That's already an ongoing process. So just so
So
you know,
yo,
that's already an
so yo,
ongoing
Okay,
process.
Los,
These
I have
hopefully,
a
hopefully you
question.
find it.
Yo, so listen, I have a question. Before I don't know if someone else has any other questions or before we get to end this podcast. So we didn't really give the so we gave the audience kind of our perspective, some side of theories and whatnot. But let me ask you guys, and I'll give my opinion. But do you guys personally believe in reincarnation? Okay, now as far as my opinion, anything is possible. I know there's different religions out there, religions that believe in a heaven, hell, purgatory. The others religion believe that reincarnation, and then you got people that don't believe anything. At the end of the day, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Personally, I I don't believe that there's a reincarnation. Again, I could be wrong. There's no uh, theories to prove I'm right. There's no theories to prove I'm wrong. But in my perspective, I don't believe that reincarnation um, would be real. But I wanted to see and get your guys' opinion to see where you guys stand on that.
Here's my stance. So to bring a joke, it's you're living in your own body with your own culture, with your own cuisine. Therefore, your mind is diluted with what you have been taught throughout the years, and
For
that
sure.
knowledge is basically your backbone of whatever you counter argue. But my philosophy and theory is that reincarnation, it could be a possibility because just based on research, I am a very big like history guru, and I like to look into
History
like
nerd.
the kind of like the Tintin kind of format where I'm like trying to discover the Indiana Jones kind of lost artifacts. And I believe there was an episode of Joe Rogan that they talked about, and I believe we talked about it as well in the ancient civilization. Whereas 12,000 years ago, there was ancient civilization that got destroyed by a meteorite. And what this civilization was so advanced and so high tech and so beyond our scope of knowledge that we just stand baffled. My question to reincarnation is, I mean, think about it hypothetically. If you die, this is my only theory. If you die and life ends, then what's like? I mean, where you go, right? It just baffles your mind because at the end of the day, it's a human concept, and heaven, hell. That came up like what with the introduction of Christianity, which is 2,000 some odd years old.
Well, no, it came. Some form of it came before that. I mean, it wasn't considered. It wasn't called that. I mean, I know the Egyptians had their like underworld version with like I think their
Yeah.
god Anubis. So
So
there was some form of like of a heaven or hell before. It probably wasn't the same of what we thought of it now.
actually, you know, the
I mean,
ancient
it goes back to like the question that me and Harsh had earlier. That's like you can't really prove it. You can't really prove anything, and when you come up with an answer to a question, then there's going to be another 100 questions that come up to that. And I see videos sometimes, I see read articles, and sometimes I'm always on the fence. Like I said, there's nothing that can prove that I'm right, nothing that can prove I'm wrong. Sometimes when I see like these videos or articles, it gives my mind thinking. I'm like, oh, I get this person's opinion and theory, and maybe it is true. And then I see something else, and it says something
So,
different. I'm like, oh,
so you're
it kind of
easily
makes
swayed
sense. So
by the media.
I
it's
think
like staying on the fence. I'm kind of like on the fence about it.
okay. I think my final answer to that is your conscious mind can only answer so much. Whereas if you were able to have full access to your subconscious mind, I think you could find the answer within that. But it's not going to be as simple as one or two or three word. It wouldn't even be as simple as a book. But at the end of the day, it will be. You would. My belief is if you are able to access your subconscious mind, you'll be able to understand the knowledge. And my belief is such reincarnation could be a possibility. That doesn't necessarily mean I am saying it is. It is, but I'm not denying it is not.
So, for my opinion, I just want to make brief, like very short. I do believe in reincarnation because I think that there is some kind of cycle that we go through. It doesn't mean that like what Arrow is saying that I'm right or someone's wrong. It's just that I believe that the souls they transfer within the different bodies, and different people have like different experiences, and that experiences is stored in the subconscious mind that people can't really access right now. But if they can access, then they can really find out the truth, which I do believe reincarnation is real.
Well, I can pick it up from here and gear our episode towards the end of it. Um, well, I did give out some theories about what I believe in. Again, I would like to add on to it and say I do believe that everything exists as is, and it cannot be created nor be destroyed. It just changes form, is what it is, and that's most of the religions that believe. I got a question though for Arrow. When you were mentioning about that 12,000 year old civilization, were you mentioning about the Atlantic city, the city of Atlantis? That's what it is.
Now that could be a possibility. Some people say that,
Okay.
but if you
Okay.
watch Joe Rogan show, it'll talk about it more in depth.
I think
Okay.
the reason people mention Atlantis is just because like it's kind of like, well, no, it's like popularized. That's why people just call it
Yeah, it's
Atlantis.
well noted. Yeah, people talk about it a lot. So I so the first time ever that the city of Atlantis was mentioned was in a great philosopher's text named Plato. He mentioned about this. So there's belief about saying, hey, you know what, the Plato just mentioned that because he wanted to have people a philosophy about after pride comes a storm. So that's what he probably wanted to do. So again, going about reincarnation and do souls exist? Is reincarnation true? We never know for sure. There are some evidences that say it exists, but they're not as strong as and they have no one can disprove it either. So I don't know if it exists or not, but I definitely believe that everything exists in some form or the other, and things just change form. Mass just becomes energy, energy becomes mass. And when we said there's, someone mentioned in the episode, I think it was France, when I said that I really just want to go to school for the rest of my life and, take whatever courses I want to. And yes, I want to do that. But so even energy, even our mind, or not energy, even information in our mind, it's all based on neurons. So information is energy, energy is mass. So it's all convertible. And definitely, if there's a soul, it probably carries that information too. It's just the time, and it's just the effort that it takes for the people to unlock it. Maybe no, I could be too radical here. I'm not sure, but it could be true, it could not be. So that's something to question. I'm just going to leave it for the audience to question and look into things themselves and how it is, what it is, what's reincarnation. We have set a good stage, we have set a good ground, and we've given our theories, given our points, given our standpoints on it. I think it's more so a question to pose to the audience. What do they think? What does the audience think? Is reincarnation true? Is there an existence of soul? Give us your feedback. Leave it down in the comment. Go check out our giveaways. We got two giveaways going on right now. We had mentioned a good overview about them on our initial episode, on the start of the episode. Go check out our Instagram, Twitter. They've got more information on that as well. Um, Basically, they're a $25 and $50 giveaway. So check it out. Keep supporting the Lunar Nation. Give us a feedback. Drop us a like, share, a follow. Check us out on all platforms. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on YouTube. We're on Twitter, Spotify. We're on YouTube as well, and also TikTok. We're on everywhere. So check us out, and give a shout out to our boys, France, Arrow, Sagoon. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening in.